So today we're going to be talking about some of the truths and lies and all that about a federal firearms license, an FFL. This is more aimed for the newer people, for the newer ones who may be interested in whether if it's getting an FFL or just want to know the ins and outs of it. So I've had my firearms license for about 2 years now. I just do everything out of my garage. It's not a storefront. A lot of people get scared because they think like, oh, that must be illegal. Well, the fact of the matter is, it's very legal. I can't speak for all the other states out there because I'm based here in Texas. So my laws may not necessarily pertain to your state. But yes, it is legal to sell firearms, to have a federal firearms license in your home. Yes, there are some requirements. You have to, of course, you have to live in like a certain area. If it's zoned or outside the city limits, you should be fine. If you live right next to a school, I don't think that you can. I think that rule has been changed, but you'd have to check with whatever area you're in. I got lucky because I live outside the city limits, and I lived in I believe they said it was a non-zoned residential area. I'm not too familiar with all of that. All I know is they said, yeah, you're good. You can run whatever business you want. So I got lucky there. So that's how I'm able to sell guns out of the garage. Typically when people get scared about that, I just tell them, well, it's cheaper than paying some jackwagon $3,000 a month for some crappy storefront. And that's the truth, because it's my garage, I can do whatever I want with it, and I can run things my way. Now, I want to touch on some things that I was misled, I was lied to a lot whenever I was trying to get started from the very start. So there's some things that I want to clear up. There is a ton of misinformation and just flat out lies out there when it comes to getting an FFL. There's also just some other key points that I want to touch on, but we'll get to that. So for starters, you can go to websites like LegalZoom where you can just throw a bunch of money at them and they do all that stuff for you. I did everything on my own. It also makes it a hell of a lot cheaper. ATF has you fill out a form. It's about 2-3 pages long, if I remember correctly. You basically just have to put all your information down. You need to have an LLC first, a limited liability company for firearms. You need to have that done first, of course, along with your tax license. You need to get everything registered with the county, and you also have to register it with the state. You can do it, I think, nationwide, but I don't know too much about that. I had to have everything done through the state. You need to get all of that cleared before you submit the paperwork for your FFL. The FFL paperwork, you also have to have your fingerprints done. If you're familiar with a license to carry, it's a similar process to that, and a photo ID, which is a passport ID. You submit all that along with about $200. However, it does depend on what type of license you want, but that is a different topic for another time. My interview for the ATF was about 5.5 hours long. Mine took a lot longer because I had a lot to go over and I had a ton of questions that I didn't have answered, so it took a little bit longer than most. So that was just my experience. Even my agent had said that that's usually not the case. It is a lot of information to cover. However, most of her interviews were only about 3 hours long, so it was definitely a first for both of us. But anyway, the other thing that I wanted to touch on is that the prices that you pay for your products are not what people say that they are. I was always being told that for ammunition and for your supplies, your accessories and all that you got anywhere from 30 to 40% off, which you may think, hey, that's a big markup. It's a complete lie. They also said the same thing with firearms, that you only get like a 5 to 10% discount. That's also a complete lie. It is a complete lie. Now, there's some videos out there who allegedly reveal what they pay for guns, and I can promise you that it's not true. It's not 100% accurate in the sense that there are numerous places you can buy from. Now, unfortunately, not every seller or wholesaler will deal with you if you're home based, because the majority of people just want to see an actual storefront. However, there's also even more sellers who will not do business with you unless you've been in the business for several years and you've already got some type of book or playbook that indicates that you've been doing well on sales for them to even look your direction. It's an unfortunate part, but, it is what it is. So, that being said, there's only a limited amount of wholesalers that will actually be willing to deal with you. So, you need to make sure that you find the right ones. But even that, some of those dealers will charge different prices. Now, wholesale prices are going to fluctuate. Just take just X handgun, for example. One of the three main people that I buy from, they may all have the exact same price. Let's say it's $349.99. Every dealer will have the exact same price. For whatever reason, some sellers have exclusives that only that company will have and no one else will have, so their price on that particular firearm may be a bit different. Who's to say? I've also noticed that there are other firearms that are usually the newer firearms. The newer section is typically fluctuating, at least from what I've seen. So out of every one of these three dealers, I've seen as far as a $30 difference. So just throwing examples out, say the first place that I usually go to buy my wholesale firearms, let's say it was at $300. There are often times that my second wholesaler has it for $30 cheaper, so for like $270. That's actually very common. So it's a competition between themselves in a way that they can sell cheaper than other places. Now, it's one of those things, you choose who you want to get your firearms from, but for all the videos who say that that's exactly what you pay for firearms, it's not true, because there was also times that I have seen firearms that were cheaper on websites like Grab-A-Gun. Now, mind you, on Grab-A-Gun, you do have to pay taxes and you do have to pay shipping even as a dealer. But it's been very rare, but there has been times where I found a firearm that was cheaper than wholesale. How they do it, I have no idea. Accessories are, at best, you might get a 5% discount. The truth of it is that with accessories and ammunition, there is way too much out there for anyone to gain any kind of an edge. The only way you're going to make any kind of money off of your accessories and your ammunition is unfortunately if you buy in bulk. That's the only way that you can get a decent discount on them. A couple of boxes here and there, unfortunately, you're just not going to make very much. That's just how it is. All the time that I was trying to get started and seek information, that was the misconception that you only get about 5 to 10% discounts on firearms, and everything else like your accessories and ammunition was anywhere from 30 to 40% off. It's a complete lie. It depends on the firearm. Some firearms you do get a decent profit margin, potential profit margin I should say. There is a number of possibilities that you could find depending on who you're buying from. The other thing with ammunition is that it's not a matter of brands because every wholesaler basically does the same thing. You get bulk pricing along with wholesale. That's how you get your money. Another thing that I wanted to touch on was hitting the gun shows. Now, gun shows are an excellent way to open up your customer market or to get your clientele in. But there's a few things that I think that you should know that, again, nobody tells anyone. Now, this is, again, in my area. This isn't the case with everyone, but unfortunately, the main people who do the big gun shows in my area, I would assume, know each other in the sense of that they're regulars and that they've been going to them for a long time, but they pay for their tables a year or even longer in advance, and this is coming from the people who run it. Because I really wanted to have a table that was against the wall, and they said, no, we can't, because apparently these people had bought years ahead. And to me, I think that that's a bunch of crap. I'm being 100% honest here. I think that's BS. It should be a first come, first serve, so everyone can have a chance to switch around and, have maybe like the back tables. I think that that's unfair, but I have to think of it as, let's say I ran the gun shows and, my buddy X is like, hey, put me in for this one. I mean, we need an extra spot. It's one of those things, if you know people, they always get a favor, or they always get the real first come type of thing. And I understand, I'm not saying that I would do better, that I wouldn't do the same thing, but it is something that you have to understand. You're not going to get the tables that you want. You're pretty much just going to get whatever's left over, because there's numerous vendors which I guess they just pay for it ahead of time because they want to keep their spot. I think it's unfair, but that's just me. So hitting the gun shows, you have to apply in advance. Not apply, I'm sorry, that's not the right word to use. To register in advance to get your table locations. Now, every gun show that I've been to so far has been successful. I don't have any right to complain. I've always taken money home as profits from every gun show I've been to so far, so I really shouldn't complain, but that is something that I just want to put out there. You're not always going to get, well, you probably won't get the spot that you really want. The next thing that I wanted to cover is you definitely will need to figure out a way to properly market your business. Now, I just do this on the side. I started out doing a fancy website and handling everything on Facebook, but it quickly became overwhelming. The need for a website is very minimal. Unless you're going to do this full time, I would completely forget about trying to run a website. It also got expensive for me. It's not something that you need, but I did notice that there are always people asking about what my website name was or where they could find me. It kind of sucked because I had to tell them, no, I don't have one. But, it is what it is. Facebook is a good way, since everyone is on Facebook, to help market your business. It's not the best, but I would definitely invest in business cards as well, and try to, if you can, try to set up a time that you can be open, like essentially business hours. So that's going to be it for now. We'll touch on some more. I will touch on some more specifics at a later time. But I just wanted to throw this out there with my experience with handling an FFL. You can honestly go on for just hours and hours and hours about doing anything that has to do with guns. There's just an endless amount of topics and information that can be covered. But we're going to go ahead and stop this right here for the time being. Hope you've enjoyed, and we will see you in the next video.